So hey everybody, welcome. I'm Suzanne Gundersen from Transform Connections. For 15 years, I have been helping people naturally transform their stress and reconnect with their bodies and their lives. So today we're going to talk about one of my favorite topics, energy tapping. My flavor of it, I call it Neuro Energy Tapping because I've been doing a lot of studying of the nervous system and I kind of marry the two things together. So if you've heard about tapping before, fabulous, welcome, great. If you haven't, fabulous, welcome, great. Please just keep an open mind because I might say something a little bit different than what you know. And it's just because it's my unique take on it. So as I said a few times before we hit the record button, feel free to kind of interject, ask any questions that you have, pop them into the chat window, or if anything, just unmute yourself and be like, hey, Suzanne, I need to ask a question about something you just said. Feel free to kind of interject and let's make this a little bit of a dialogue too. So I have some slide information to share with you because I'm really a visual person. So I wanted to kind of give you something to look at. But we're also going to be doing a lot of interactive activities too, like energy exercises and actual tapping. And then toward the end of it, we're going to do some real tapping on some of the issues that you might be challenged with right now. So I know we've got a lot of diverse people on here. We've got people who have Lyme and autoimmune disease. We've got parents on here. We've got divorcees on here. We have people who have narcissist recovery. Lots of trauma healing happening out there in the world these days. So I'm hopefully going to touch on a little bit of everything for everybody. So I'm a little bit of a geeky science intuitive. So like, if I'm going off into the bushes, just be like, Suzanne, you lost me, come back. But I hopefully won't do that for you. So first I want to do is do some energy exercises, and they're really simple to do. You can do these any time of the day. Our bodies are energy, and in order to get that chi energy moving and circulating, we got to kind of like engage with the energy body. So just follow along, no matter if you're sitting, standing, doesn't matter. The first thing we're going to do is something called a double karate chop. So I want you to take the side of the hand against the side of the hand here and just double karate chop. And while you're doing that, I want you to look around your room and I want you to notice the color. And I want you to notice the texture and just notice it as best you can. And then just shake your hands out, wiggle your shoulders a little bit, loosen up, loosen up. Then I want you to take all your fingers and get a nice bounce on the top of your cheekbones and just follow your breath into your lungs. And then all your fingers on your collarbones, just following your breath into your lungs. And then take one hand, make a fist, and pound the middle of your chest. And then both hands under your arms like this. I know it looks really silly. Then just shake that all out. Shrug your shoulders a little bit. Nice. Okay, so now you're going to take one hand on the opposite side shoulder and get a nice pull on it, and you're going to drag it across the body to the opposite hip. So you can do that on the other side too. So hand on your opposite shoulder, get a nice pull, drag it across the body to the opposite hip. So do that a couple times at your own pace, just pulling, dragging, pulling, dragging, pulling and dragging, nice and slow. We don't know how to do anything slow. We can do everything really fast. We can't do anything slow. It's nice and slow. And then just shake your hands out, wiggle your shoulders a little bit. Good job. Now I want you to take one hand, your right hand, and put it on the opposite side body, and the other hand and put it on your arm. And you're going to just rub, rub, rub. We're really waking up the energy body here. Take a nice inhale, then exhale. And then I want you to switch your arms. Nice inhale, and exhale. And just wiggle that all free. Nice. How's everybody feeling? Thumbs up. Good. Feeling good? Awesome. So this one looks kind of funky, but this is probably one of my favorites to do. It's called the triple warmer smoothie. We have an energy meridian in our body called the triple warmer, and it regulates our fight flight system. And so it runs from our ring finger all the way up our arm, all the way up our neck, all the way around, and ends right here on the side of the eye. So when you're stressed out, that meridian is lit up like a Christmas tree. It's just lit up. So what you want to do is you want to reverse the flow of energy that's in that meridian. That way it starts to neutralize that energy really fast. So how you do it is you're going to take your third finger on the top of your nose here and your second finger on your eyebrows, right? And you're really going to get a press in your face. Press, press, press. And I want you to press and sweep your face to your fingers and start tapping your temples. And then tap your head behind your ears, all the way down your neck, all the way to your thymus. Put your hands in the fist on your thymus and just take a breath. And we're going to do that 2 more times. So just sweep your face with your fingers, tap your temples, tap your head behind your ears, all the way down your neck, all the way to your thymus. Put your hands in the fist here. Nice, easy breath. Awesome. This is one of my favorites. Now you can do these any time of the day, anytime you want, because what happens is when our body perceives threat or stress, it starts to contract and our energy system just kind of clams up. So our energy, we're energy in motion. That's what emotion is about, energy in motion. So the energy wants to always be flowing in this kind of very flowy figure 8 pattern. And when we're stressed, it gets straight and our energy gets straight and it can't cross. That's why we do these crossing exercises. We cross our hands, we cross our body. We sweep and we tap and we engage the energy system and get it moving. We get that chi energy moving in the body. We'll get into a little bit about the Chinese medicine element of energy medicine, but wanted to get you all kind of nice and grounded and present. So again, one more time, just a nice tap on your cheekbones. And I want you to look around your room and notice another color that you didn't see before, a different texture. Nice bounce on your collarbones. Nice, easy breath in. Maybe you're noticing you're breathing a little deeper, following your breath into your lungs, noticing the temperature of your breath even. And then take your one hand, pound your thymus, both hands under your arms. Shake and wiggle that all free. Nice. Everybody feeling good? Okay, cool. So remember, if anybody just joined late, feel free to pop some messages in the chat. Let me just check there really quick. Oh, sorry, Erica mentioned infertility too. I had a whole list of things that was kind of mentioning about people who are joining tonight. So definitely all are welcome. So I'm going to try and remember to look at the chat window, but if I forget, then like I said, just unmute yourself and be like, Suzanne, I asked a question. Happy to go and answer it for you. Okay, so what is energy tapping? Well, very simply, it is a self-use acupressure technique where you literally use your fingertips to tap on energy points. And when you do that, it shifts how you feel and experience your body, your emotions, and your thoughts so that you can be in more peace and have more wisdom about what you might be experiencing. When you're tapping on these points, something specific is happening, a couple of things. One is that you're engaging the energy system, which is a part of your nervous system, and it sends a calming message to the amygdala part of the brain, which is that emotional fire alarm, that part of the brain that's just like, you know, if you are kind of calm and center here and something comes into your awareness and you get emotional, you go sideways, that fire alarm kind of takes you sideways into emotion. And so when you're tapping, it's sending this message to the amygdala that says, everything's really okay. It's okay to calm down now. And it turns that fire alarm off. And when it does that, it signals to the rest of the nervous system, let's calm down now. Because the body can't restore itself and reset goodness when we're in a state of anxious mobilization where we've got to go fight or flight, or completely just checked out, disassociated, and helpless and hopeless. That is a contracted way of being. We need to be able to be like lying in a hammock and relaxing. That's when we're going to get all of the regeneration happening in our body. So when we're tapping on these points, that's kind of going on behind the scenes where we're engaging with the brain, we're engaging with the nervous system and calming everything down. That way we can go into deep relaxation. Because it's when we're in deep relaxation that we actually can recalibrate. Whether it's something physically, emotionally, or mentally, we can't outthink stress. We can't outfeel stress. The strongest emotion always wins. And so tapping really helps us to calm those emotions, calm that energy down. That way we can get into that grounded place again. If you're sitting or standing, you know, flip your shoes off for a second and just get a nice rub with your toes on the carpet or the floor and just notice it, like really get some grounding going. Even like if these were my feet, take the edge of your foot and lean into the edge of your foot and just kind of twist your ankle a little bit and just kind of feel the edge of your foot. It probably feels a little sore and tender. and then maybe do it on the other side and get the other side of the other foot going on the edge of that foot. And then just kind of put your feet flat and kind of like bounce your legs up and down a little bit. And that helps get you grounded. We need to be able to be grounded in order for us to, feel the, have our body begin to regulate. So simple, easy things we can do. So tapping, what is it? It's a self-use acupressure technique that literally shifts how we feel and experience stress. We literally use fingertips to tap on energy points. And when we do that, we're sending a calming message to the brain, which turns off the brain's fire alarm, which sets the nervous system back to, hey, let's calm down. The bear is really not chasing us. We're really going to be okay right now. Any questions about that? Oh, people are trying to get in. The room is open. I enabled it for everybody. Hopefully everyone's getting in now. Some people might not have the password, 1234. But yeah, Eric, I enabled the room to be open for everybody, just so you know.
Yeah, no problem. I was just texting some people back and forth. I didn't want to be rude. Sorry.
I don't know if I'm hearing this here. Hold on. Okay. Alrighty, so let me get into a little bit of the history of tapping. Like, where did this come from? How long has it been around? How come I'm just finding out about it? Get me up to speed, Stan. So I'm going to share my screen here really quick so I can show you something. Portion on my screen. I'm going to go here. Okay. So tapping has been around for almost 50 years, believe it or not. And it's largely based in Chinese medicine, which means that we use the traditional acupuncture points, except instead of needles, obviously we use our fingertips. Now, you may have heard about the origins of tapping being with someone by the name of Roger Callahan. He was really brilliant. He studied the energy system and started to create encyclopedias of different protocols of tapping sequences that you could use if you had any kind of different ailment. And they were very long tapping sequences. And as you can see by this model that's in this picture here, there's hundreds of points all over the body. So he literally was like making you tap all over like a monkey. And so Gary Craig kind of came along in the early 80s, and he really simplified Roger Callahan's work to become something that we widely know today as emotional freedom technique, with fewer tapping points and really kind of going to the root of what the problem is, as opposed to having a sequence for every single issue, not just for individual sequences for individual issues. But since then, there's been a lot of other people like Tapas Fleming and Dr. Larry Nims and Robert Smith and Nick Ortner. The Ortners have been the more mainstream present day tappers that are out there. Nick and Jessica Ortner and their brother Alex, they did a documentary back in like the early 2000s that was really popular, and they really helped bring tapping into the mainstream. So we're all so grateful that way we could be having this conversation today. But there's so many people out there, and they have different flavors of tapping. And, tapping is going to evolve as we evolve. As we get to the next level of our awareness of something, we're going to shape a new idea and concept around it. So that's why I mentioned to you today, my version of it might not be what you see on this list. It might not be what you've learned. So if you could just keep an open mind, I promise you that it can really be helpful for you. So I wanted to also show you, while I'm sharing my screen here, this is a picture of our human stress response. So down at the bottom, you'll see there's a green section that says social engagement. This is where we're feeling kind of content and alive and curious for life and happy. And the first line that we see is kind of like this black squiggly line between kind of the pink middle section and the green. That represents what they call our window of tolerance. And so for people who have resilience, they have a window of tolerance, meaning that something comes into their awareness, it triggers them. They kind of go, okay, this is a stress, and they kind of rise up into that fight flight section, but then they know how to regulate and come back down again. But then there's also other levels of stress, right? So if we peak above our window of tolerance and we go, oh my gosh, I can't figure this out, then we go into that sympathetic nervous system version of our fight flight. And the body's like, okay, I've got to go do something about this. I have to defend myself physically, emotionally, mentally. What do I need to do? And if we're able to resolve it from that point, then we can come down off that stress response and return back to green, back into that social engagement. But if not, then often we rise up on that stress response into the freeze section. And this is where a lot of people who have trauma live in this part of their nervous system, because the nervous system doesn't have an option at this point. It's just looked at every direction going, can't fight, can't flight, no one's here to help me. And we get into that hopeless, helpless shutdown. Now, trauma in the body really is just the sensations that we remember as being triggered for what it looks like, sounds like, feels like. It's all that cellular memory that we hold that keeps our trauma stuck in place. So what tapping helps us do is find out where we're at on this stress response and bring us back down to green, and then help us train to stay safe in the green and not always needing to kind of mobilize and fight, flight, or living in hopeless, helpless, freeze and shut down. So let me go to a couple of the foundations of tapping. So first is Chinese medicine. As I mentioned, our bodies are energy. We've got these rivers of energy that go from our head to our feet called meridians. And that represents what I call momentum. We've got momentum to the energy body. It's either moving fast or slow, out of control, or just flatlined, but there's a momentum happening in our energy body. The second foundation of tapping is modern psychology. It's how we think, we learn, we communicate. It's all those thoughts and beliefs and stories that we hold, largely that we keep in our hippocampus, which is another part of our limbic brain, which is that middle layer of our brain. And then the third foundation of tapping is neurobiology, which is our nervous system, our brain wiring and our cells and how we've got neural pathways, and all of that stuff has kind of memory. So I'm going to stop sharing right now so you can look at me again. And so the three foundations of tapping: Chinese medicine, modern psychology, and neurobiology. So let's go a little bit deeper into what I call the 3 M's of tapping. So the first one is momentum, right? We've got this energy body. Now, imagine if you were kind of like sitting at a red light and you really wanted it to be green. You'd be like, come on, come on, come on. You're not going anywhere. You're sitting in your car, but you could feel the energy of like, I want to go, 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 go. So we've got a momentum to our energy body. So what tapping helps us do is regulate the intensity in which we are experiencing that energy. So if it's like too fast and out of control, we can start bringing it back to a personal pace. If it's kind of flatlined and not really moving, we can jumpstart it and kickstart it to get it to start to flow again. So that's what we're doing when we're tapping, is we're helping that momentum be able to be regulated to your personal pace. Now, I don't know about you. I'm not the guy weaving in and out of traffic going 150 miles an hour. That's not me. I'm like middle lane, sometimes fast lane girl. That's me. And I'm cool there. And I know my pace. I know my speed. Sometimes I'm slow lane, and that's okay too. Know your pace, stick to your lane. How you get there, tapping will help you regulate that momentum to get there. The second M of tapping is meaning. And that is all the stories and the thoughts and the ideas that you have, that you hold, that you give, representation and resource to what it is that you're thinking. So, for example, I said the word dog. You have a dog on your mind, right? How come we are not thinking of the same dog? Like I said, dog. Don't you understand what I'm saying? Like dog, dog, dog. Now, how come your dog is different than my dog? Because we're only ever talking to ourselves based on our own internal references. So we think we're like having these conversations with people in our lives, but we're just talking to ourselves based on what we know. And so what tapping does is it helps us to detach from that specific meaning and go, oh, there's more dogs in the world than just my dog. Right, because my dog in my mind was like biting me and it was wet and it was shaking water all over the room and I was pissed, But I could, in my mind, invite my dog to have a nice little blow dry and dry off. I could have him quiet and go to sleep in the corner. I could have him not anywhere coming near me, whatever you need your dog to do. So the second M of tapping, meaning. What tapping does is it helps you to detach from that specific meaning that you've given your stress. That way you can rise to a new perspective about it. And when you do, that is the peace and that is the wisdom that you're looking for, is the relief of, oh, there is a different way to look at this. And we're going to get into my specific method on how to make this type of transformation happen for you. I call my method 3RP method. It stands for 3 R's and a P. Resolve, release, reframe, project. And it is a process to get there. And it really has to be in your words and in your wisdom and your next logical step and how you get there. But put a pin in that one. We're going to get there. Second M of tapping, meaning, right? It's your dog. We tap and we can rise to a different perspective of there's more dogs in the world than my dog. And it's really okay to know more dogs. Hopefully you all like dogs. I'm not really a cat person. Sorry. Don't hold it against me. Okay. The third M of tapping, memory. Now, our bodies have a nervous system that is a trillion times faster in perceiving sense than our mind can do. I know it's hard to understand that because we've been conditioned to believe that the mind knows everything, that the mind can solve all problems. But really, have you ever said to yourself, like, oh, I just knew I should have turned left and I didn't do it. Oh, I knew I should have called that person back and I didn't. We've got these gut impulses that come up through our enteric, nervous system that are impulsing us all the time. It's just in the evolution of our thinking mind. The mind has been like, don't listen to the body. I got this. But then it's like, does it always work out? Look, how do you know how to get to the grocery store? Do you get in the car and like plug into the GPS, like take me to the grocery store? No, you just get in there and you go because your body's like, I know how to get there. I got this. You can talk on the phone, you can listen to the radio, you can chew gum, you can eat a sandwich. I don't care. We're going to get you there. It's because when the body learns how to do something once, it just memorizes it and does it for you efficiently every time. Could you imagine, what's that movie, 51st Dates or Groundhog Day, where you wake up every day and you got to like relearn the whole thing every day, like do something new? You would never be able to get anywhere unless you had to relearn everything from scratch every day. So like, we like this part of our nervous system, but the fact that we can, condition it and influence it to have memory to help us so we won't have to relearn everything every day. But there are the things that it remembers that we're like, oh, I don't want you to remember that one. No, not that one. Not that chronic anxiety experience that I have every time I walk into a room and I'm just feeling socially, anxious. I don't want to have that experience every time I'm in front of a room and I'm in the spotlight, or I feel like I'm not doing something right, or I go on autopilot and take care of other people's needs instead of myself, or, oh, my body is just reacting to this influence, whether it's an environmental thing or something I fed it and here we go again. Or worse is, hey, in my family, we always have fill in the blank here, this problem. And now I have that problem too. The body has this kind of cellular memory. So what tapping does, what does it do? It helps us to kind of calm those stress pathways where the body and brain are just like on autopilot. It starts to calm those stress pathways, and it also helps to open up new pathways in the brain. That way you can start to think new thoughts, have different feelings, be able to have a new experience in your body, right? So those are the 3 M's of tapping: momentum, meaning, and memory. And that's kind of my flavor of it. That's how I kind of simplify it. And so what's tapping doing? It regulates the momentum of your energy body. It helps you detach from the meaning that has you stressed, struggling, and stuck, and helps to rewire your brain and your nervous system. That way you can have a different outcome. So does that sound like amazing? I mean, amazing stuff. Totally amazing stuff. So how does it work? How does it work? Let me see. Do I have something here I was going to show you about how it works? No, I'm going to just show you how it works. So first, let's go over the tapping points. Like I showed you on that chart of that, that mannequin that had the energy meridians on it, there are 100 points or hundreds of points all over the body. If you went to an acupuncturist, they would put needles in these points for the purpose of circulating the energy body. When you have pain or disease in a certain part of the body, it's because there isn't enough energy going to that part of the body. So when they put needles in it, it's like saying, hey, get that energy going. Imagine making a figure 8 pattern in front of you, and there's kind of like a clog in the pattern. When you're tapping, what you're doing is you're kind of like opening up that pattern and wiggling it free and letting it to integrate with the rest of the energy body. That way that energy is flowing through your whole body, through your whole limbic emotional system, through your whole neocortex. You're not just kind of either, blocked off from it, stuck in it, or whatever your experience might be, physically, pain or disease, physically, emotionally, mentally, you pick it. So the tapping points that I like to use, that I learned from one of my mentors, are just the real powerhouses of the tapping points. So just to kind of follow along and just learn them. We're not doing anything serious right now. We're just practicing. I want you to take 2 fingers, either hand, it doesn't matter. And if you grew your eyebrows together right here, just start tapping right there. This is the first point. This is the eyebrow point. Now I want you to tap enough where you're hearing a patting sound, like you're actually engaging the energy channel, right? So don't be weak, wimpy here. Like really get in there, hear that patting sound. And you want to tap about 5 to 10 times per point. This point is the bladder meridian, and it represents emotional trauma. And then you're going to tap right here on the side of the eye. Now you can get fancy and do both sides if you want, or just for right now, just one side's fine. Don't go crazy. Side of the eye right here. Hear that patting sound 5 to 10 times per point. This is the, oh my gosh, why am I blanking on it? This is the gallbladder meridian, and it represents anger. Under the eye on the top of the cheek right here, stomach meridian, represents anxiety. And I want you to take all 4 fingers of one hand, get a nice bounce across both your collarbones right here. This is the kidney meridian, and it represents fear. And then you're going to take one hand and squeeze the opposite wrist a couple times. You could do either one, it doesn't matter. Squeeze it. And then just shake that hand out. The reason why you do that is because there's meridians that run, down your arm, out into your fingers. So you may have seen people tapping like this. You may have seen people tapping like this. Squeeze the whole wrist, you get them all. One shot. You can slap the inside. That's kind of like not nice. So you just squeeze it, pulse it around a couple times. Easy peasy, right? So again, just to repeat, eyebrow point, side of the eye, under the eye, on your collarbones, grab your wrist. Those are the points we use. Now, how do we actually make it work where we can kind of relieve our stress, where we could transform our bad habits, where we could, transform our trauma, whatever you might have? How do we get from our stress and struggle to relief, peace, and wisdom? How do you do that, Suzanne? Well, I'm going to show you. I have tapping in 4 easy steps. This is the basic recipe of how to do this. So whatever you're doing right now, just put your pen down for a second. And I want you to just go to something that you know is bothering you. Some kind of stress. Just notice it. And by noticing it, I mean, what does it look like? Are you watching a movie in your mind? What does it sound like? Are there voices, noises? What does it feel like? Do you have a sensation in the body? Maybe some part of your body got hot, got cold, got a little pain, got a little bit of something going on. Or maybe you have a feeling associated with, like an emotion. Whatever it is, that's step number 1 of tapping, is notice what bothers you and how it bothers you. So just go to that thing right now, right? And while you're there, give that thing that you're doing an intensity number on a scale of 0 to 10. If 0 means doesn't bother me, 10 means it really bothers me, what number would you give it? And just, if you could, pop a couple numbers in the chat window for me and tell me what numbers you're looking at right now. A scale of 0 to 10, 0 doesn't bother you, 10 it really bothers you. Pop a couple numbers, tell me what it is you're feeling right now. Okay, great, thank you. 6, 10, 10, great. 9, fantastic. 9, 8, great. I have no freaking clue what you're doing, right? But you're all stressed out. And so we definitely want to find something that's higher than a 6. So if you've got something that's kind of like a 3 or 4, find something else, go to something that's at least a 6 or higher. So we're all stressed out right now with some high level of number, which is great. That's step number 2, is give it an intensity number. Remember, step number 1, notice what bothers you and how it bothers you. How, meaning what does it look like, sound like, feel like. Step number 2, give that thing an intensity number. Find something that's higher than a 6. Step number 3, go to the part that stands out the most, the part that you're like, I don't want to look at that part. I want to hear that sound. I want to see that. I want to feel that. No, just go there. Go to that part. Usually the worst part, the part that stands out. And just be there and just feel uncomfortable with it. It's not good there. It's not good there. But the more we can make this number high, and we can feel that discomfort, the closer we are to getting to the root of what is holding this thing together. And tapping really is a technique that helps us to weed this shit out at the root and not just mow the lawn and make it look pretty. You know, some people are like, oh, I just meditated for a few minutes, I feel better. And then boom, it grew back again. And then the grass is, 10 inches tall. Like it can happen in Florida. We know this, like overnight, boom, the grass grows back. We're not here to mow the lawn and make it look pretty. We're here to get this stuff out of the root. So go to the part that's uncomfortable. Go to the part you're like, I don't like when they said that way. I don't like how their face looked. I don't like how I felt in my body. I just felt that anxiety, whatever it was, whatever stands out, go to that part. Often that makes the 8, 9, 9 to 10, 6 to 8, whatever, just let it rise up. While you're there, focusing on the worst part, focusing on what it looks like, sounds like, feels like. Take your 2 fingers, either hand, doesn't matter. Step number 4 of tapping is we actually tap. Tap. Hear that patting sound, and I want you to repeat out loud and say to yourself, this stress, it bothers me so much. I'm an expert at it. I can't stop thinking about it. It's driving me crazy. I don't like it. Tap on the side of the eye. The stress, every emotional aspect of it, all the confusion, out of control feelings, hurt and pain, bothering me, and tap under your eye. Everyone that's involved, what they said, what they did, what they didn't say, what they didn't do, everybody that contributed to it, every part and piece bothers me so much. And then tap on your collarbone. It's this thing that stresses me out. I know it. I'm looking right at it. I'm hearing it. I'm sensing it. I just know it. And I'm letting it go because it's safe to let it go. And I'm willing to let it go because I deserve peace. And then take one hand and squeeze the opposite wrist a couple times. Take a nice, easy breath. Blow it out. Say the word clear. In your mind, I invite you to go to a really good memory. It doesn't have to be a big thing. It could be like the last great hot shower you took. It could be walking on the beach. It could be the last vacation you took, no matter if that was 5 years ago, pre-COVID, whatever. Just go to a good memory. Let that feel really good. Be in your body. Go enjoy that memory. For me, it's as simple as like, I like when I shave my legs and then I get into bed, I feel that softness between like my sheets and the legs. It's like, oh, it's so nice, like go to that feeling. I know we have a guy on here too, but like shave your face. I don't care. Just feel good. Just go to a good feeling memory right now. Step into it. Make it a 10 on a scale of 0 to 10. Oh my God, it feels so good. It feels so good. And while you're there, start tapping between your eyes and say, this is who I truly am. Naturally and easily. And then tap on the side of the eye. This wonderful feeling lives inside of me. And I create it. Just like I create all things. And then tap under your eye. And this is a really great thing. And I love it because it's all mine. And tap on your collarbone. And I can have it anytime I want. And it feels this good. And grab your wrist, squeeze around a couple times, take a nice breath, blow it out, say the word peace. Breath. Nice. Now go back to the thing that was bothering you. And tell me now. Pop in the chat. What number are you at now? What's the intensity that you experience that thing now? How does it feel now? Right. 5, 7, 6. These are different numbers. 4. Where to go? Where to go? Thanks, everybody, for sharing your numbers, by the way. We don't ever let anything go. What we do is we integrate it within our body so that it can sit within us much more peacefully. And that's the whole experience of relief, is we just want relief. We want relief from our stress. So remember, when we're tapping, we're sending that calming message to the brain that says, turn off the fire alarm. It's all over with now. It's really okay. We're telling the body, hey, settle down now. No bears chasing us. It's really okay. And with that and that combination, we kind of remove ourselves from what I call the tornado of stress. When you're in your 9 to 8, 9, 10, and you're in your tornado, you can't do anything other than just react to the tornado. You're like, oh, there it is again. There it is again. When you start tapping, it's like the tornado's over here. And next thing you know, you're like over here. And you're like, oh my God, I was in a tornado. And we're like, yeah, I know, we told you to get out. We were trying to help you to get out, but you were like, I gotta be in the, I'm just reacting. So that's the difference with tapping, is it helps you, get out of your tornado and give you some perspective. That way you can have some more peace and wisdom about this thing that's bothering you. So we still have some numbers here. We still have 4, 6, whatever these numbers. We want to neutralize this. Like I said, we're here to get this stuff out at the root, not just mow the lawn. That's the first mowing of the lawn, right? We want to get down deeper. We want to backhoe this stuff out. So just again, let's go through the 4 steps. Step number 1, notice how you know it's a 4. Notice how you know it's a 6. How do you know it's still there? How do you know? What does it look like? What's the part that you're like, oh, now I really know. This is the part that really gets me. Go there, right? Get specific about it.
I'm in a Zoom meeting.
Whatever's left, just go there. Put all your focus and awareness on that. And then tap between your eyes. Say, I'm resisting letting go. Who will I be without this? I'm justified to think this way, feel this way, be this way. This really happened to me. And then tap on the side of the eye. Don't make me let it go. Who will I be if I let it go? And then tap under the eye. Don't make me let this go. I know it so well. This happened. It's real. I don't know how to let it go. What would it mean to me if I let it go? But either way, in this moment, I'm willing to set it free. And then tap on your collarbone, clearing anything in the way of letting this go. Clearing this, whatever's left, 4, 6, 8, whatever it is, from every cell of my body and how my body's memorized it. Every emotional aspect of it, every thought I think about it, the belief I have about myself, about the world, about this experience. I'm willing to let it all go. And then grab your wrist, squeeze it a couple times, take a nice breath, blow it out, say the word clear, pop on over to your happy memory. Go feel really good, that happy, great thing that feels so awesome. Showering, shaving, in bed, nice, soft, easy sheets. Whatever it is, just go to that really good feeling place. Make it a 10 on a scale of 0 to 10. Be in your body, step into it. Only when you're really there and you're at least an 8, 9, or 10, I want you to squeeze your wrist a couple of times and just say peace, 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 peace. Take a nice breath.
Peace, peace, peace.
Blow it out. Great. Pop back over. Tell me, what's left? What's the number now? What stands out? So our number's going down. Wow. This is the process, friends. We go to what we know, what we don't want anymore. We tap on it. We start to neutralize it. We get that energy body moving. And then we go to a happy memory and we give ourselves a break for a second. And then we go back and we do a little bit more. And then we go to a happy memory, then we come back and we do a little bit more. So the first thing we did was we're resolving that stress. We're resolving it. And the second thing we did was we're releasing our resistance that we have to letting it go. Now, the third thing that we're going to do that we haven't done yet is the reframe. So that's the third R of the 3RP method. So what new wisdom could you bring to this experience that you didn't have before because you were too busy being in the tornado? But now you're not in the tornado anymore. Now it's like a 2, a 4, a 1. When you're less than like a 4 or a 3, start to think other thoughts that you couldn't before about it. Or maybe if you needed to do something back in that memory, go do that thing now and have that be the way that you want to remember it. Because now you've got the space to go, oh, now I know how to think in reaction to it as opposed to, in response to it as opposed to how I was reacting to it. So give yourself what you need, give that reframe. And as I mentioned to you, your words are the best way to facilitate this tapping process. In fact, it's the way that you're going to effectively make long-lasting change for yourself. You can't do it through using someone else's suggestions. It really has to be in your own words. So just, find something that you can bring into that memory, whether it's something that you needed to think differently about, say, have with you. Give yourself whatever resources that you need to be able to reframe that memory. And then once you have that thing, you want to project that out to be, this is really what happened. Because sure, when we have that immediate reaction of stress, that thinking mind goes offline. So we lose all connection to like rational thought. And all we can do is just react, react, react. So now that you're not reacting anymore, and now you've kind of come to a place of more peace, then tell me now, what new wisdom could you infuse into this experience? And it has to be your next logical step. It can't be somebody else's. And this is why, people who are out there saying, oh, I need a tapping script, follow along to my tapping video. That stuff is kind of just mowing the lawn. We want to get into, the real weeds of how the stuff was planted. You planted it, you can replant the seed based on your new wisdom about it. And the more tapping you do on it, the more the wisdom will be able to be anchored into your neurobiology, into your psychology, and into your energy body. And that's the whole goal. And it doesn't happen overnight. We've got to practice, practice, practice. That's one of the things about tapping, is you have to be willing and persistent, to keep up with not just neutralizing your stress in this way, but also delivering to yourself the new perspectives of wisdom that you want to hold on to. That way, these things can sit within you much more peacefully. So I'm having a hot flash, by the way. I just need to wow, it happens. I turned 50 and then all of a sudden things start to sweat. It's like crazy, weird. Don't worry, I've tapped on it before. So, so questions, ask me. What happened? I just don't even know.
Suzanne, can you repeat the steps? I got number 3 was reframe, but the other steps.
Sure. So step number 1 is resolve. What are we resolving? How we know. We're resolving how we know, what it looks like, sounds like, feels like. Step number 2 is we are releasing any resistance that we have. Resistance to, it's not safe, it's not possible, I don't deserve to let this go, I don't know how to let this go. We're releasing our resistance to that. Third R is reframe. We are reframing that experience to have new wisdom, your specific wisdom based on what you know and what the next logical step is that you can bring into that reference. So we're reframing it, whether it's something that you physically need to bring in, like I needed to have someone by my side to defend me, to say and validate me. I needed to say something, I should have said this. So say it again, go back to that memory and say that thing. Or maybe I just needed to think differently about it. Whatever that resource is that you didn't have back then because you were too busy reacting, bring that resource in and reframe that memory to be able to sit within you much more peacefully. And then the 3RP, the P is project. So you want to be able to then take that new memory with the reframe and project it, meaning I want you to practice, look at it, hear it, feel it, be it. That's the way that you know it from now on. Any way practicing the other way just means that there's more to tap on. There's more to release, resolve, reframe, let it go. Thank you for typing that in there, Adele. That's amazing. Thank you. So that's what we're doing. That's this process. And, a couple tips. One is you need to be willing and persistent. This is, your problems didn't happen overnight, and tapping is not a one-hit wonder. You really have to kind of be on yourself. Every time you go back and practicing the old way of things that you don't want anymore, you have to interrupt yourself. Tapping also is kind of, creating a disconnection between the mind and the body, which is how you shift how you feel and experience what you're going through. It's like saying, hey, don't get stuck there. Just keep that energy moving. Don't get stuck there. So you have to be willing and persistent to keep it up, keep it up. How many times you should be tapping a day? Whenever you're triggered. Whenever you're triggered. I call them like speed bumps. You're like, oh, something just happened. All you have to do, 3 words, let it go, let it go, let it go, let it go. 3 words, that's it. Don't worry about what do I say? I don't know what to say. She said all these words. I didn't write it down. I don't know what to say. Let it go. Easy. Let it go. You can't mess that up. Or if you can even remember that, oh my God, what did she say? She said 3 words I can't remember. You just tap, you know, you're feeling it. That's enough. Look, in the energetic world and, in vibration of our energy body, we're the ones that speak language, but our energy bodies are the same on the whole human race. And what we're doing, and you don't go to an acupuncturist that speaks your language, you just go to an acupuncturist. Same thing with tapping. It doesn't speak any specific language. You are the language of your own energy. So tapping while you're in the middle of your own dialogue is exactly where you want to kind of interrupt and start to neutralize that experience to come into more peace and wisdom. What else are some good tapping tips? Aiming. So remember in the beginning, I said to you, notice how you know. The more specific you can aim at your problem, the better. It happened on a Tuesday at 4 o'clock. It was 6 feet tall. It was the color blue. It tasted horrible. Remember those specific details. The more specific you can get, the better. Because what we're trying to do in the energy system is we're trying to shift, the scale of, what you don't, what you're an expert at, to be able to, get more general about that, lighten it up, get more general about it, be able to rise to new wisdom about it, and then get really specific about the things that we love, like the feeling good memories. So we're really specific right now about what we don't want, which is what is causing us stress. We tap while we're there. We're aiming as micro specific as we can, and we're tapping while we're aiming at that specifics, and that starts to help it rise up to get more general. And then we can take the good memory and get really specific about that and replace that and kind of anchor that. Another great tip would be that you might hear a lot of people talking about like positive affirmations, and they're really beautiful things to say. But truly, when we're in a not great place, when we're in a stressed out place, we are actually anchoring the opposite. We're affirming the opposite of what that affirmation is, because we're not in the emotional space. We're not in the energetic, balanced space to be able to even accept that idea as being anywhere remotely true for us. So we tap while we're saying positive affirmations. So I like this easy one. You can say this every morning when you wake up. It's like, I'm always safe. I'm always secure. I love myself. I approve of myself. I'm at peace with myself. I love and accept myself. All beautiful things to say. But if you're not in a good place, you'd be like, I love myself. Well, not yesterday because I cut that guy off at the grocery store. I'm at peace with myself. No, I'm not. I haven't called my mother back in 3 days. I love and accept myself. No, I ate the cake last night. I gained 2 pounds. Come on. All those subconscious tail enders are like what actually gets affirmed when you say those positive affirmations. So careful about saying those positive affirmations in a specific, stressed out state. If you are in that stressed out state and you want to say them, tap while you're saying them, please. Tapping is going to just neutralize that tail ender, get it out of the way. So we talked about what to say, let it go. Oh, how long to tap, be willing and persistent. So if you've got an issue and you're tapping on it and you're going back and forth between like, oh, this stress and like my happy memory, oh, this stress and my happy memory, and it's like it's still kind of intense for you, just take a breath for it. Just take a break for a few minutes, come back to it again, but be persistent to keep working at it, and know that there is progress that's being made. You can't turn a 600-mile-an-hour plane around on a dime. It doesn't work that way. You got to take a wide turn, You can't lose 25 pounds overnight, but you could lose 2 pounds a week. You want to make sure that the changes that you're making are able to be integrated into your psychology, into your body in a way that's going to be lasting. I don't know if anybody's out there doing hypnosis, but I studied hypnosis about 20 years ago, became a hypnotist. I was like, oh, this is the answer to all problems. Oh my gosh. And I did. I was successful for a while with it, but then I grew back all my problems. Why? Because the hypnotist was suggestively influencing me to think a certain way, but they weren't my original thoughts. And this is why with tapping, you have to do your own heavy lifting. You have to just let your thoughts evolve in their own natural way. And so you know, if you want to run a marathon and you don't own a pair of sneakers, you're not going to go sign up for the Boston Marathon this weekend. In fact, they're not going to invite you. So you got to like go out and buy the sneakers, run a mile, puke on the side of the road, you know, train for a little bit longer. I mean, it's not going to just happen overnight. Transformation is possible, but if you've spent, you know, I don't know, 5 days, 5 years, a couple decades with your problems, it's going to take an evolution of your own transformation. But tapping is a self-use living skill. This is something you can use in the moment where you're like, I'm triggered. Oh my gosh, what do? You start tapping on these points. It starts to calm that fire alarm down in the moment. It works on demand, right? We saw you guys move from a 10, a 9 to a 6 and a 4, and we weren't even talking about anything specific. Not with me. You know, when I work with my clients, I get into their story with them and I start to like move that stuff through with them. So we can make a lot of big, powerful changes. But this was just general, and look at the amazing changes that you just had, even just like in the general 2 minutes of tapping that we did. It really wasn't even that deep. So you can make major transformation, and it's going to be in your own timeline. You know, sometimes it takes people, you know, a year to lose 30 pounds. Sometimes it takes them 6 months. You know, that's just one metaphor. So just be gentle with yourself, but be willing and persistent, and knowing that every time you're tapping, you're chipping away a little bit more at whatever it is that's at the root of holding this stress and struggle together. Also, when you're tapping, you may have felt a little like tingly sensation, like, oh, I'm feeling a little tingly. Totally normal. You may have noticed you sighed or yawned a little bit or took like a spontaneous breath. All signs of shifting, right? What happens at the end of the day? Oh, we're yawning. We shift from one state of being to the other. So when we're contracted in our stress and we start to let that go, we can take a sigh and we take a breath. So all those are really great signals that the body is shifting from one state of being to the other. So invite those and welcome those experiences and go, oh, I'm not just tired anymore. I don't have to carry that, that stress anymore. You know, so somebody said they're yawning like crazy. Yeah, awesome. Fantastic, right? I mean, think about how heavy it is emotionally to carry that luggage around with you in your energy body. And, you know, I spent 15 years going to a psychotherapist in New York City before I moved to Florida. And it's because I'm from the Northeast. And I would go in there and I would like carry all my emotional luggage in. I'd be like wheeling like big 100-pound pieces of emotional luggage, and I'd be like open it up and going, see these pair of pants? I hate them. See this shirt? It's ugly. And they're like, yep. And then I'd be like, okay, what am I doing now? Put it back in the suitcase, zip it back up with me, and carry it back out. The difference with tapping is like you wheel in your emotional luggage, you open up the suitcase and you go, hate these pants. And we go, good, get rid of them. Hate this shirt. Good, get rid of it. And then you're like, oh, so much less on my emotional luggage. This is so great. You zip it back up again. It's a lot lighter. So of course, when you're not emotionally burdened in that way anymore, you could take a sigh of relief. The body's like, oh, I can relax now. I don't have to carry this around anymore. So that's kind of metaphorically what's happening there. So let's see, what kind of, I know, like I said, we've got a diverse community of people who are watching, like we're infertility people, autoimmune, anxiety, parent stress, post-divorce stress, all different kinds of stuff. Does anybody have any specific questions that they want to ask? You all kind of have hung out here with me, so thanks. I mustn't be that crazy. Well, I'm crazy, but you all are. Sherry laughs. I know her laugh.
This group might not get to meet you in person. Some of the ladies on here might get to meet you in person, but some of us have kids on here, so utilizing tapping for kids. Do you want to just touch on that real quick?
Sure. So kids, they got some magic fingers. No matter where they're tripped up, and if you see them in their stress, the moment you feed into their stress, you lower your nervous system needs to the minute you see them in their stress, you need to keep yourself regulated and composed. So the first thing you can do to help them is help yourself. Let it go, let it go, let it go. Yes, they're having a fit. It's really okay. The more you can stay grounded and present, the more they can safely regulate their nervous system through your regulated nervous system. If you dip into their hysteria, then you got two hysterical nervous systems that can't regulate safely. So first, as a parent, you witness this stress, you start tapping. I'm just tapping so that I can remain calm, because you need somebody calm right now. And I'm not going to dip down to your hysteria. I love you. I'm not going there with you. And then monkey see, monkey do, they will follow along. What are you doing? What are you doing? You can tap on all these points at the same time, and just be like, do this and do this. And they're like, okay, just do it consistently every time you are perceiving their stress. You do this to keep yourself regulated, because what does a child need? They need your dense presence to be able to regulate their instability, their dysregulation through. So do that for yourself. For them, whether it's they've got issues, maybe they're, have pressure at school, they have test anxiety, or maybe they're getting bullied, or maybe they've got peer pressure. Maybe they're just anxious, and geez, these kids these days, they have so much pressure on them from so many different angles. So, if you just show them, look, when you're not feeling well, just tap and say, ugh, yuck, I don't like this way. I use my magic fingers to help me feel better. I'm really okay now. I'm really okay now. I'm really okay now. That's all they need to say. Just tap, I'm really okay now, so they can tap in the moment when they're triggered with whatever it is they're experiencing. Again, tap along with them, do it with them. That way they don't feel like they're doing it, and tap when you're going around the house. Like, there's mom, she's tapping again. There's dad tapping again. Yeah, because I'm taking care of myself, because I'm helping myself stay, present for you. That way I can help you. I can't help you when I'm also feeding into your stress. I just thought of something, I lost it. So hopefully that was helpful. Do it in the moment for yourself when you're witnessing their stress, and then show them how to do it, and then they can do it. And believe me, I've taught this to a lot of kids before, and sometimes you might not ever see that they do it. I have a little, I'm going to teach a parents class soon in person. I've got these little cheat sheet handouts, and I hand it to the kids, I hand it to the parents, I just say, put this stuff all over the house, just hanging up, and that way, if they're triggered, you can just be like, hey, go follow this tapping thing. Oh, the second thing I wanted to mention was about boosting their confidence. So it's not just when they are stressed out that you want to tap. You want to say, hey, look, you know what? When they're feeling good, just be like, I'm a really good kid. People like me. I'm smart. I'm witty. I'm funny. I'm lovable. I'm loving. I'm an awesome kid. Boost their confidence even more, you know? Imagine if you had had this tool when you were that age, wow, we wouldn't have all these problems. Give it to them now. One, to help them de-stress, and second, to boost their confidence. Any questions? I must have been like so freaking awesomely clear that you guys don't have one question. Okay, man, where's my TED Talk, man? Here I come.
You're amazing. Thank you so much.
Yeah, well, thanks
That was
everybody
awesome.
for
Great
joining
tool.
and hanging in there. I hope it was fun. I told you I want to have fun. And this tool changed my life. I didn't go into my personal story, but you can go to my website, transformedconnections.com. I have a YouTube channel full of a bunch of videos. I've got a Facebook page. I've got a Facebook group called the Empowered Tapping Revolution. And if you're so inclined and you want to be like, hey, you know what? I might want a little bit of a tapping help. Go to my website, transformedconnections.com, and offer a free 30-minute consultation. You'll have a mini tapping experience just like we did today, except we'll make it unique to you. And we'll get you started on some profound shifts for yourself. So feel free to pop some time onto my calendar. There's a link there. All you have to do is click, 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 time, date. You'll get on the calendar, and we'll meet on a Zoom link just like this. And if we're going to get to meet in person, even better. I look forward to that. I know Erica's been organizing something that's going to be in Sarasota Lakewood Ranch coming up in a couple weeks. I am recording this video, and I will put it as a private link on my YouTube channel. So anybody who wants to watch the replay or wants to share it out, I'm happy to give you the link to that. Hold on, I just do chat stuff here. Awesome. Yay. Okay, great. Fantastic. Thanks, Adele, for taking such good notes for everybody. Download the chat if you want to have some good notes. Adele's been taking some good notes. The Facebook group is called the Empowered Tapping Revolution. Cool. And my email address is transformedconnections@gmail.com. You're welcome to just be like, ask me questions, send me something. You know, if you had a great time tonight, feel free to go to my Facebook business page, Transform Connections, and write a review and be just like, I just took this awesome class. It was fantastic. Everyone should learn how to tap. That'd be awesome. I really appreciate that.
Yeah, that was great. Thank you very much. Although I was yelling at my kids in the middle of this tapping, so my levels were all over the place.
Well, now you got the formula. So after you put them to sleep, oh, those kids, those kids, those kids, those kids. Whatever.
Yes, I needed that formula. I think because I go from 0 to 100 in a half a second. So I need to be able to recognize, oh, I need to start tapping at this second because I'm going to lose my shit in about 2 minutes. New York style, like no holds barred, like somebody come save me.
Love it. I love it. Fantastic. Well, thanks for sharing that stress with us. And don't worry, once you get them to sleep, you can go and neutralize all that and feel a lot better for yourself.
And no, you're not alone.
Appreciate it. Thank you. Because at times I feel like, what am I doing wrong? Am I doing something wrong? And I don't know if I'm coming or going. So it's hard, raising two, one preteen and a teenage boy and being a single parent and having shared custody. So not easy.
Well, kudos to you, Mama. Good job. Keep going. You're doing great.
Thanks. And I think I was able to find out about this class. It was, who did I find it? I think it was from.
I think Heather had to pop off. Was it Heather?
Yes, it was Heather through, I'm in a class with her on Give Her Wings Ministries. And that's how I linked up on this. So this was awesome.
Cool. Well, thank you so much for being here. I know there's a lot of different groups that we're going to join in. So like I said, there's a big diverse community of people here, but you all have one thing in common, and that you get stressed. So now hopefully you've got a tool to put in your stress relief toolbox to use in the moment, on demand, easy peasy, let it go, let it go, let it go, let it go. Alternate that with a happy memory, and give yourself some peace. If you want to get in touch, transformconnections.com. Feel free to look me up on Facebook. And thanks everybody for listening to me tonight and being here. And we'll see you around. See you on the internet.
Thank you so much.
Take care, everybody.